So I'll begin with our affirmation of love. We gather in love. We affirm the reality that love is here and completely available to us. Love is the ground of our being and the fabric of the universe. Love was here in this space before we arrived, and it will be here after us. We are amplifiers and channels of love. Love dwells in and flows through us as we open our hearts to love. We are in love as a drop of water is in the ocean. There's never been a moment since our first heartbeat when we have been separated from love. There will never be a moment when we are separated from love. Love is. Take a moment to let that settle in, to feel that. And then I want to share a quote. The great novelist and Marilyn Robinson was once asked, what single thing would make the world, in general, a better place? She replied, loving it more. So what do you hear in that statement? I'm going to read it again. What do you hear in that statement? Marilyn Robinson was once asked, what single thing would make the world in general a better place? She replied, loving it more. Again, what do you hear? And then what do you feel? So what I hear is that I need to love the world more. What I hear is that I need to love the world more. And I also feel, what I feel is a bit of a sinking feeling and maybe even some fear. The fear that either I can't or I won't love it enough. Anybody else have a similar feeling? I want to go back to that little bit of poem from Pastor Steve's poem. The poem that sort of kicked this whole project off of this season of love. And he said, in troubled times, it takes great concentration to align ourselves with grace instead of force, with love instead of fear. We begin by allowing ourselves to be loved along with all the rest of creation. And then we fall into that love. And then we let that love flow through us into the world. So reminding all of us and myself, it's a 3-step process. And it begins, the first step has to be allowing ourselves to be loved. Generally, for most of us, it's our last thought. We start with, I need to love. So why is it so hard for us? In the circles that I facilitate, we always start with the affirmation of love, like we did tonight. And then we add a part in which we look around the circle and we offer our love to every person in the circle. And that feels great. Open our hearts and give our love to the faces that are in the little boxes and the people, the hearts that are in the little boxes. And then I ask us to turn it around. And I ask us all to receive love from each person that they see on the screen. And so we go from beaming love out, which we're kind of used to for some reason, and we turn into opening our own hearts and letting love flow in. When we do that, when I invite people to let that love flow in, there's almost always a little resistance. What do you think that resistance is about? I have some theories about that. But for now, I want us to just hold that question and maybe hold it for this week, that we ponder that and why, even to me, it's sort of new news that the first step is going to be receiving love. So what we're going to consider this week is why. And notice it in ourselves. Why do we jump right to loving instead of receiving love? Even in the situations where we know we're loved, when we're completely safe, and maybe noticing ways that we push it away. Or maybe we just simply don't give it time and space to notice that we're being loved. Maybe we think it has to be romantic love or family love, or we have to have done something in order to be loved. So as we go into our practice tonight, I really want you to be aware of what it feels like, what happens in you. And in our practice here, what you think about it isn't nearly as important as how your body, your being is experiencing it. That's what the invitation is, to really notice. What does your body experience, your being, your heart, your spirit experience when love is directed towards you? Can you receive it? What is it like? So I invite us now to practice together. So settle maybe even a little more deeply into your space. Let yourself be prepared to deeply listen with yourself and to experience your own self. And then let your awareness just drop into your immediate experience. And that means to simply notice whatever it is that's happening for you now. And that may be as simple as something you can hear or something your body's feeling. Or it may be some big awareness that you're having in your inner experience. Maybe your mind's having a lot of thoughts. So the practice here at the beginning is to simply notice and experience. And when you notice it, to silently name it to yourself. and then wait for the next experience to arise. So, our practice is all about noticing an experience. It's not ever about changing the experience or fixing the experience or trying to make the experience different. It's just noticing what's here now and trusting the moment. So now we move deeper into presence, this first stage of the practice of surrendered presence. The stage is all about presence, and we begin in the physical body. And during our season of love, we're bringing awareness to receiving love into the body. So there's no need to imagine where this love might come from. As we said at the beginning, we are all in love. Love surrounds us just like air surrounds us. So in a way, it might be sort of like the love is just seeping into our body. So bring your awareness, first of all, to your feet. And either imagine or become aware that love is filling your feet. And then your lower legs. And your upper legs. Letting love flow in and fill your hips, your pelvis, letting love fill your belly, flow in and through all the organs of your belly. Letting love fill your chest. Letting love fill the physical beating heart. And to see what you're noticing. There's no right thing to notice, no wrong thing to notice. What are you noticing in this practice of allowing love to fill your body? Letting love flow into your shoulders, your arms, and your hands. And then moving your awareness to your tailbone. Imagining that love is flowing up the spine. Includes the muscles all around the spine, includes the rib cage, includes the neck, and then the scalp. And then let love fill and come to rest on your face. And become aware of your body as a whole, filled with love. And noticing what your body is like when it's filled with love. So grounding ourselves in our physical being, because we can feel our materiality and feel the realness of our body. We ground here. And we begin to include our more ethereal inner experiences. And we begin with our heart. Wherever you imagine your heart lives in your being, bring your awareness there. And see if you can open your heart and let love flow in. And if you can't, then notice that. And see if you can notice it without judgment. Simply noticing what happens either way. And then imagining yourself as spirit, letting love flow in to your spirit. I tend to think of the spirit when I'm able to feel it or contact it in my being. It feels like my aliveness. It feels like the energy or flow inside of me. What happens to that part of you as love enters. And notice if there's any resistance. Notice if there's openness. And now notice your mind. Imagining love completely filling your mind, not just your head space, your brain, that cavity in your head, this bigger thing that we are, this mind seems to be bigger than just our head. Imagining love filling that. And at the same time, noticing any thoughts that you have. Or maybe noticing that you don't have thoughts. We've now given our attention to these different elements of our being, our body, our heart, our spirit, our mind. We can now feel the presence of our whole being filled with love. We can feel that we're here now. And then letting your awareness extend beyond your body. Notice the room that you're situated in. And then become aware of the land that surrounds you. The city in which you're in, the state. Letting your awareness just extend farther and farther out. Letting your awareness include all creatures, all beings. Becoming aware that each creature is filled with love in exactly the same way you are. Whether it's a tree or a river, a plant, an animal. We are all here in love. And then becoming aware of how the earth is drawing you into itself. This is stage 2 of our practice, where we notice that we're being acted upon by the force of gravity, a universal force that acts everywhere, every point in the universe, nowhere that it does not exist. Here on the earth, the way gravity works upon us is to hold us on the earth. We don't float off, we don't fall over. We're here, held. And see if that idea, that thought of being held can actually penetrate not just the thinking mind, but into the whole being. I'm held. And to see what it feels like, actually feels like to be held. And see if you can give yourself over to that holding, allowing yourself to be held. This is the way it actually works. Gravity is holding us. We are not holding ourselves. When we really know that, we can begin to relax. We can relax into the earth. We can relax into gravity. We can also relax into love. Seeing what it might be like if love also held us. Staying aware of your being, your presence. Remaining in this space of holding and relaxation. Move into stage 3, which is observing the breath as it comes into the body and goes back out again. The natural and easy flow that the body does over and over again, many times a minute. It allows air to flow in and releases what isn't needed. And the body stays in health as long as nothing obstructs that flow. It's the same for love. As long as we do not obstruct the flow of love, it enters us naturally. It flows back out again naturally. See if you can begin to have a sense of openness to the flowing in and the flow back out. When you feel ready, follow that out breath all the way out into a space of complete letting go into love, into simple being. Where there's nothing at all to do but simply be. So Marilyn Robinson said, we could make the world better by loving it more. We're going to change that a little bit. We're going to see what happens if we let ourselves be loved more. Can we love the world more? Thank you so much for practicing with me and supporting my own practice. Love you all.